Okay, today we introduce Kriya. And for that we read Hatha Yoga Pradipika chapter 2. And we start at Sutra 21. Sutra 21. One who is flabby and phlegmatic should first, before the practice of pranayama, practice the 6 acts. Others who do not have these defects should not practice them. The 3 humors, wind, bile, and phlegm, being equally balanced in them. Did you read it? Did you understand it? It's a lot of abracadabra, right? But it has a real meaning once you are able to read beyond the symbolical language. The approach of yoga is very systematic. You start with physical, because physical everybody understands. But you are being prepared for energy control. You're actually going to learn to increase or decrease the Shiva and Shakti energies in order to correct your balance of energies. Like with the article about pregnant through prayer, you will not believe that that is possible. Do you think you can change your energy balance? In the Bible, they have the concept of doubting Thomas. You know who is the doubting Thomas? All of us are doubting Thomases. And you know why? Because we don't believe in things that we can't see, can't taste, can't smell, can't hear, and can't touch. In the Bible, it's of course about spirit. We're talking about energy. You don't believe that you can manipulate your energy household, that you can change the amount of Shiva and Shakti. And yet, without knowing it, you're using energy all the time. Around the house, in your phone, the light. You can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't feel it, you can't smell it, you can't taste it. And yet it's there. So to be able to start believing, you have to be step by step introduced into the concept of energy. The Kriya exercises are designed to do that. And when you see how it works, it all starts making sense. Because the normal approach is we start with asana, and then we do Kriya. But Kriya, normally, you will see in the text how it is described. Kriya is called a purification exercise. Purification of what? Most people think purification of the body. So they take the text literally, and they start swallowing a piece of cloth, let it soak in the stomach, and then they pull it out again. They squat in a bathtub or in the river, and they soak up water through the anus, and then they expel it again. That's how it is described. But look, you have asana, which is gross level. You have pranayama, which is subtle level. Energy control. you go from physical to mental exercise, energy control. How does swallowing a piece of cloth, or sucking up water through the anus, or vomiting the substance from your stomach, how does that prepare you? How does that build the bridge between asana and pranayama? It doesn't. So if you are the least bit skeptical, critical in thought, you would immediately start to question if your teacher tells you to swallow a piece of cloth, suck up water through the anus, pull a piece of cord through the nostril and out through the mouth. You should immediately ask your teacher, what is the logic? I don't see the logic. Most people don't do that, they just faithfully follow the instructions. This is what the text means. One who is flabby and phlegmatic. Who is that? Who is flabby and phlegmatic? The person who is not conditioned. The person who is tamas. Who doesn't possess a lot of energy. What we have done so far, from the start of the course until now, lesson 13, is restore our original condition in which we are full of energy, brimming with energy. That is how we are born. So one who is flabby and phlegmatic, that is the condition that most people are in, tamas condition. You are supposed to be not flabby and phlegmatic anymore when you reach chapter 2. And this is the reason why we started Sutra 21, because of our systematic approach. But chapter 2, Sutra 1, starts with the introduction of pranayama. We skip that for now, because you have, even if you're not flabby and phlegmatic anymore, you, as a result, as a requirement of the systematic approach that we have, we must go through the kriyas before we start with pranayama, so that you understand, so that you see the logic, the systematic build-up. If you're flabby and phlegmatic, so this is after the introduction of pranayama, you tried it out, but it doesn't work. It doesn't connect with you. Svatmarama says, if your condition is still relatively tamas, you should first do those 6 acts. But he also goes on to say, if you did your best, you practiced hard since the beginning of the course, and you're now brimming with energy, you don't have to do it. Because the 3 humors, wind, bile, and phlegm, being equally balanced in them. What does that mean? That is symbolical speak for sattva. That is symbolical speak for saying, if you're already relatively sattvic, brimming with energy, you don't have to do these. But, just in case, if you're tamas, you're not yet brimming with energy, then you're going to need this. Sutra 22. These 6 acts, kriyas, are named Dhauti, Vashti, Neti, Trataka, Nauli, and Kapalabhati. And there's one more, Gajakarani. We will come back to that in 2 weeks. Sutra 23. Here, pay attention, because here something very tricky happens. These 6 acts that purify the body should be kept secret, as they produce various wonderful results, and as such are held in high esteem by great yogins. So it's all a secret. Should be kept secret. Sutra 24. Here Dhauti is described. Slowly swallow a wet piece of cloth, 4 fingers broad and 15 spans long, according to the instructions of the Guru. This is key. According to the instructions of the Guru. Draw it out again. This process is called Dhauti. I told you to pay attention. Did you? Did you notice what he did? What Svatmarama did? He played a huge trick on you. A trick that many people still don't get. Sutra 23. These 6 acts that purify the body should be kept secret. Sutra 24. Here Dhauti is described. Swallow a wet piece of cloth and draw it out again. You understand what happened here? First he says this is a secret, and then he just gives you the information. It's a booby trap. He deliberately says you have to do this according to the instructions of the Guru, which means you must be properly initiated into Kriya by somebody who has been initiated. If not, you experiment on your own, or you learn from an uninitiated yoga teacher, you will harm yourself. You will indeed swallow a piece of cloth, thinking that you are doing something very secret and very holy, and you will feel very special, until you start to notice that you're damaging your throat, your esophagus, your stomach. And it will be so bad that you will never ever try again. See what is happening here? It's supposed to be a secret. He's not just going to tell you in the next sutra exactly how to do this. He means it. It should be kept secret. Why, actually, should this be kept secret? You have to see this from the point of view of ancient society. 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 15,000 years ago. People were intellectually not developed, but they were intuitively very highly developed, very sensitive. Because they had no intellect to understand their deep intuition, they developed a lot of fear about the unknown, things that they cannot rationally explain. But because of their high sensitivity, strong intuition, they're very sensitive of energies and vibrations. It is leading to superstition. Superstition is based on awareness of energies, of spirits as they call it, ghosts, spirits, energies, without being able to rationalize them. That is why ancient stories are full of spirits and ghosts. There are spirits and ghosts everywhere, in the forest, in the sea, in the mountains, even in the wardrobe, in the closet. That is how people try to explain their sensitivity. In Korea, you still have older generations that were so busy surviving that they were not able to be well educated. The current oldest generations, the Harmonis and the Harabotis, with low education, they have, the Korean people here will confirm that their grandparents are full of superstition about many things. So that is, so why should we keep this a secret? Yoga is a system, that a very powerful system to systematically empower people. But that power that you develop can be used in a negative way, in a selfish way, even in an evil way. We started with yama and niyama. We lay a moral foundation before we start empowering ourselves. You have to see this from the perspective of ancient people. Modern day people already have. If you compare society now with 200 years ago, there is a huge difference. And if you compare it with 2000 years ago, that difference is even bigger. We have learned to control ourselves to an extent, but still there is evil. So yoga is designed to empower people, and with that power you do positive things. You become a doctor, a healer. Healers of the past were trained in a similar way as yogis are trained. Every culture had its own ways of doing that, but the essence of the training is same as the yoga system. You become a healer, you become a seer, you become the counselor of the tribe of which you are part. The medicine men, the witches and the sorcerers of the past were in fact yogis, people with higher consciousness. Those people were all subject to many years of initiation, training. They would live with their master, with their mentor, dedicate their life to their guru for 15 years, 20 years. Probably until their master dies, and then they would take over that role. The idea here is that this must be kept secret. You must be careful with whom you share this, because you do not want people to abuse this power. In the modern day society that we live in, you can clearly see there are people that behave in harmful ways. And there are clearly people who behave in ways that benefits not only themselves but society on the whole. And again, we have the best example right in front of us if we compare the previous president of the United States with the current president of the United States. Because the previous one is one that is empowered, but who has abused it for selfish purposes, and in his wake has left enormous destruction of which he totally doesn't care. Totally doesn't care. That man has no conscience. So that is why this should be kept a secret. In ancient times, times have changed. So if a teacher tells you to swallow a piece of cloth, you say, show me how to do it. You do it first. Very likely the answer will be, oh no, I don't have to do this anymore because I am purified already. But you are still polluted. You must purify. If your teacher is not willing to do it, then you shouldn't do it either. Because common sense, which is not so common, tells you that this might be potentially very harmful. Pranayama is energy control. Kriya is the bridge that leads you there. You don't believe in energy, but you do believe in a piece of cloth. This is in fact a clever visualization exercise that helps you get started with the idea of actual energy control. You remember energy, Shiva and Shakti, Ida and Pingala. We finished last week with Ida and Pingala, Shiva and Shakti. Shiva energy flows from the top to the bottom. Shakti energy flows from the bottom to the top. You swallow a piece of cloth, let it soak in the stomach, then you pull it out again. You visualize. And in the process, what you are doing, you use the power of thought, which we discussed before asana. Remember, Ajna Chakra, the power of prayer. You use the power of thought. You consciously go from the center of your head, which is the buccal cavity through which you swallow the piece of cloth, which is no different, which is nothing else than Shiva energy, and you bring your attention, using the power of thought, you bring your attention through the mouth, through the throat, through the esophagus, passing through the chest, into the stomach. Manipura chakra. You let it soak, which means you keep your attention a little here, and then you pull it out. Is this weird? It's weird, but it's not harmful. In fact, it's a very clever way to introduce you to the concept of energy control without complication, because you will see after this session we take a little break, we discuss the next chakra, and we will discuss the next Kriya exercise after asana. Then already you will start to get an idea of what is happening here when you see the picture on the board, with including the next exercise. Okay? We will get to that. For now, even if you don't believe it or are very critical thinking about this, just give it the benefit of the doubt. Approach this in a playful way. Before you concentrate on nada, you do this Kriya exercise. You play with this visualization. Swallowing a piece of cloth all the way down to the stomach, and then pulling it out again. The purpose of this is to connect you with energy. Along the way it will become clear, you will see. Just give it the benefit of the doubt, play with this visualization, 5 minutes or so, or until you feel you're sick and tired of it, you want to move on, then spend the rest of the time concentrating on nada, listening to nada, observing. That is what you do. Dhauti, which is this exercise, followed by nada. Because we have a new element with our meditation, we increase the time to 20 minutes. Questions? Then let's just get to it.
Okay, it's just for energy control, we are doing it, we are thinking about this, and we are just thinking like we are taking the truth inside and we are again pulling it outside. It's like physically we do this clear, right? Dhauti Kriya, some yogis and all, they do this Kriya, they perform this Kriya, right?
By swallowing a piece of cloth.
Yeah,
Yes, they do.
they do. What's the benefit of that thing, actually taking the cloth inside?
It's very damaging.
But why do they do this? It's damaging.
Ignorance. Because that is how it is described. They take the text literal.
Is it something that whatever the extra, bile acid is there that come out with that, is it so something like that? Because stomach is the center of, if you have more acid in your body, when you're putting the cloth inside, soaking that thing and then pulling it outside. So if they are taking, is there any benefit for that?
Yeah, but that is a separate thing. It is possible that ancient Ayurveda doctors saw the need to cleanse the stomach. And they told their patient to swallow a piece of cloth and take it out.
Because when they perform the panch karma or something like that,
Yeah.
they actually do all these things.
Yeah, but here it is suggested to do this when you're not sick.
Okay. Okay. So
As a part in between your asana practice and your pranayama practice.
Okay.
And you should become suspicious here because there is no logic if you approach it in the way that it is literally described.
If your body has balance of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, those three elements, then you need not to perform, just think about this.
Yes,
and do this.
keep it simple.
Use it as a bridge between
If it is a medical
conditions.
treatment, then it is something that you do once. Here it is being suggested as an exercise. That means that you do it in a ritual way.
Okay.
For example, on a daily basis. If you do that, you're going to severely damage the tissue of your esophagus and your stomach. Even worse, your stomach is designed to resist strong acids that digest your food. And your body does that with a layer of mucus in the stomach, which you remove every time you take out the piece of cloth. The acid then burns holes in your stomach. When you so, if you think of it, it doesn't make sense. Yoga is designed to heal and to create. It's not designed to damage and destroy. So, when confronted with something like this and realizing the implications of taking this literally, you must become suspicious. And in fact, the whole book, like every other holy book, is written in symbolical language. When we start taking those books literally, it leads to radicalism, which we have enough of in this world. Enough examples of in this world.
Quick question.
Yeah, sure.
So in this meditation, are we mentally just in? Do we have like a time frame for how long we envision ourselves like bringing the energy in and taking it out, or it's just all mentally just playing with it?
Yes, in the beginning, of course, it is an experiment, but the power of thought is only there if we are motivated. If we put heart and soul into what we do. It's same as with asana. We practice asana, we have a time indication on the board. Today it was 60 seconds, but it is very possible after 20 seconds that you feel you are done. If you force yourself to stay in the pose, you're not there anymore. You're not engaged properly anymore. So you must stop after 20 seconds, even though the board says 60. It's the same with this visualization exercise. You engage, you try to play with it through visualization, and as long as you feel interested, motivated, you keep doing it, even for 20 minutes. Because the longer you engage, the better. But there comes a moment, just like with asana, that you're done. You're not driven anymore, you're not enthusiastic anymore. When that happens, you drop it and you continue with the last segment, concentrating on nada. We will repeat this many times, so just play with it, leave it behind. We will do it again after the break. We will repeat it. Yeah? There's another element to the secrecy, maybe more applicable in this time. If I put this video on YouTube and people watch the video, people who have not gone through the introduction from day one, they will think I'm crazy. Totally nuts, totally ridiculous. Nowadays, that is pretty okay. There can be some abuse on social media. But in the past, when people were superstitious, they would accuse you of witchcraft, sorcery. And you know what happened with witches and sorcerers. They were killed in horrible ways. So that can be another reason for keeping what we do secret. So I have to ask myself if I'm actually going to put this on YouTube. And not many people are watching it anyway, only students who missed the class so far. So anyway, just so you understand.